Hello everyone, happy new year. It is so good to be back for our first show of 2021. Woo! Of course, it is already, here in Australia, it is already February. My wife won the pinch and a punch of the first day of the month competition this morning, which we seem to play every first day of the month in our family. So yes, that was a reminder. Oh, okay, second month has already arrived. I hope you are safe and healthy wherever you are. Just as importantly, I hope our video is running really smoothly and that the audio is going well. Linda, be sure to let me know that it's all going just fine. Of course, at the end of last year, for the last 2 or 3 shows, we had massive technical issues, and I'm fingers crossed. We did tests. Thank you to those of you who tuned in a couple of weeks while I was doing a tech run. Mackenzie's saying the audio and video was great. Woohoo! Oh, so nervous in the lead up to today's show that everything would be going great. And do you know, in the end, for those of you who are playing at home, in the end, I think it was a setting that a Windows update had changed, and it was like finding a needle in a haystack. But all things being equal, I think we're good. I think we should be fine until we, of course, get another Windows update and we have to go looking for another needle in the haystack. But that's all good. Yeah, as I said, I hope you're all healthy and safe wherever you are. I know that COVID continues to wreak havoc across the world, particularly in the Northern Hemisphere. We had a little glitch here in Brisbane, Australia. For those of you who don't know, Australia has done really well in its response to COVID. We're very fortunate here in our little island state. Well, we're not a little island, are we? We're the largest island on the planet, but in our little continent of Australia, we've done quite well. But we did have a little bit of a moment back in January. We were thrown into 3 days hard lockdown, but I know in contrast to the rest of the world, many of you are currently in lockdown and doing the hard yards. So we in Australia, we regularly think of you, and we hope that you're doing okay. And I hope that for the next few minutes at least, that you can just forget about COVID for a moment and think about singing, because that's what we do here every Monday, Australian Eastern Standard Time at 1 p.m. We get together and we talk voice. We do a whole range of things. We've been doing these live shows now for 3 years-ish. We've done quite a few. And for those of you who have never joined us before, my name is Dr. Dan and I host the show. I have a channel, Dr. Dan's Voice Essentials, which you can go and check out via the links in the description section of this video. You can go and check that out in your own time. We just love singing, and we really do believe that singing is the birthright of every human being. You don't have to be a celebrity. You don't have to be noted as a talented singer to participate in this community. We are so keen to encourage the use of voice for self-expression, for self-satisfaction and enjoyment. And if you do desire to go on to use your voice in a vocational/professional way, then that's great as well. Your professional singers are also welcome. I've been teaching for 26 years this year. So last year was quite one way to celebrate 25 years of teaching. But anyway, we're into the 26th year this year, and I invited students back into the studio after having everyone online only for the last 10 months. It was a great joy and to a certain extent relief to actually have students coming back in to the studio, because I am not only a singing teacher online. I don't only have a YouTube channel where I put up instructional learn to sing videos, I teach. That's what I do for a living and have done for the last, as I said, 26 years this year. And so it's what I do. And hopefully, as we join together here every Monday for the live shows, and as you delve into the 500 plus videos that I have on the YouTube channel, that you will gain something from my experience as a teacher. And of course, we always say, if I don't know it all, so, and when I don't know it, I know that many people in the live chat can attest to this. Many of our regulars can attest to the fact that when Dr. Dan doesn't know, he puts his hand up and says, I don't know, we'll have to look that up. And sometimes we're able to find the answers, but most often I can answer quite a few of the questions, and we might even get to some Q&A a little bit later in the show. And many of our shows are about doing Q&A, question and answers, because I know many of you have got questions, and as I said, I've got a few answers. But of course, we also get on special guests every year. We have had the most amazing special guests over the last 3 or 4 years, and this year is going to be no different. And it's become a little bit of a tradition to have my good friend Michelle DeVoe come on and join us. She's a singing teacher in the US, and she's going to come on and join us on the 15th of February. So not next week, but the week after. And we're going to be talking about mindset and how the way we think about our voice, the way we mentally construct and talk to ourselves. We're going to be talking about that and talking about how we can become far more, this is going to sound cliche, but far more positive in our mental processing and our mental thought life around our singing. A couple of weeks after that, so on the 1st of March, so in a month's time, we're going to have Kate Baker. Now, we haven't had Kate on the show for for about 2 years, I think. And Kate, we're going to be talking about auditions. And so, auditions can be from, doing amateur theatre. It can be for choirs. It can be for ensembles. It can be for bands. We're going to be talking about how to, audition well and those sorts of things. At least that's what I think we're going to be talking about. Then we're going to have Dr. Shannon Coates on 2 weeks after that. Anyway, we're going to have a great lineup of special guests. And as you know, these special guests aren't just, friends of Dr. Dan. These are leading experts internationally in their fields. And so we are, excuse me, we are so privileged to have them come onto the show. And, more often than not, these individuals are giving of their time that would typically be charged for. These people, sometimes to go and spend an hour webinar with these individuals, it can be, $100, $200, $500 a pop. And yet they come onto the show for us absolutely free. And because of my time, where I sit in the world, in Australia, often, because a lot of them are US based, often they're coming on to the show at like 10, 11 p.m., 12, like midnight in the US. And so it's just so good of them, so generous. And so I hope you'll subscribe to the channel and, hit the white bell icon. This is the key. You not only to subscribe, but hit the white bell icon, because then you're always going to receive that notification that the show is going live, and you'll get that reminder, and away we go. Talking of new things for the year, I have literally just hours ago, as in probably in the last hour and a half, gone live with a brand new Dr. Dan's Voice Studio site. I've got 2 sites, not 4, Daniel, 2. I've got 2 sites, and of course, many of you are familiar with my voiceessentials.com.au site. That's where all of my online singing courses, the self-directed courses and my exercises and everything are are housed and where you can enroll in an online course and, you know, go through all of that. So many of you are already enrolled in those courses, and I keep getting such positive feedback from all of you about how those courses are helping. But I have another site which I've had for now 8 years called, well, the business has been called for a long time, called Djarts. And a lot of people ask me, what is Djarts? Because it reads D-J-A-R-T-S, DJ Arts. This was back in an era, this is back in the late 90s when DJing wasn't so much of a thing, certainly not like it is now. And the D stands for Daniel and the J stands for Jodie, who is my wife. Very, you know, it's a bit romantic. But anyway, and anyway, so that's still the name of my sort of financial dealings and everything, but I wanted to update the site. And so if you go to djarts.com.au, again, the links were all in below. If you go to Djarts, you will see a brand new site, which I'm really excited about. Just updating it for the mobile world. And if you want to have private singing lessons, then that is the site that you would get to me through. So yeah, that went live literally this morning. Of course, the live YouTube shows that we're currently doing are not the only show that we do. I regularly put out pre-recorded content, generally in the first week and the third week of the month. So this week, I've got a new video going live, which if you hit that white bell icon, you'll be reminded of. That'll go live and you'll be able to have a watch of that. And then going forward, we'll continue to give you pre-record videos. Of course, all of the videos here on YouTube are free. But it's not only new videos that I'm going to be creating this year, and you know, for the last couple of years, as many of you know, I've been creating the online courses, Voice Essentials 1, 2, and 3, which was a massive undertaking. We left no stone unturned in really trying to produce the highest of quality videos and learning experience and learning pathways so that it's highly educational. You know, when I'm not just seeking to take people's money when they do this course, I want them to learn, and I want you to learn if you're participating in them. And I know it will benefit your voice greatly if you participate in one of those courses. But to build that was massive. So I've been, you know, just taking a rest over the last couple of months. And oh, thank you, Kelly, for what's the new web address, please? It's www.djarts.com.au. Kelly, it's the same web address. We can't change the web address. It's just a new look. So if you go and have a look at that, yes, it's the same web address. It'll just look new. So anyway, back to some new things that we're going to be doing this year. So I'm not going to be doing this in the first half of the year because, you know, one has to ease their way back in. But I've got ideas for a new course. That's all I'll say. At this stage, that's all I'll say. Just, you know, it won't be as massive as the other ones. But it will be, I think, content that'll be really beneficial to absolute beginners, like people who are, you know, really struggling to put one note next to the other to string two notes together. And so a preparatory course, if you will, which will lead into doing Voice Essentials 1. I'm chewing on that thought and starting to construct ideas around that. So I'll keep you informed as we go along. I've also got ideas for a new series that we're going to do here on the channel, which is kind of a vocal analysis sort of video series. Now, as you know, I don't do voice reaction or vocal coach reaction videos. There is just something about them that does not sit right. If you're interested, I've got a video explaining why that doesn't sit right for me. However, I think there is an opportunity for us together to look at some leading singers and do some analysis on what are they doing with their voice, not so we can emulate them. You are you and they are them. But what we can do is really review what they do and identify the technical attributes, and then go looking for ways to implement that into our own voice. So I'd be keen to see in the comment section as to whether what do you think about that. Give this video a thumbs up if you think that's a good idea. So I'm thinking we could look at things like, we could dedicate one video to vowels, for example. We could dedicate another one to range, you know, as in vocal range. We could look at onsets. We could look at, you know, vocal texture, you know, thinking about resonance. There's a whole range of topics that I think that series could have. So I'm going to be exploring that this year. I'm also thinking, so this video probably should have said this at the very beginning. Today is about really just letting you know where we're headed this year, and so many exciting thoughts and ideas that I've got, and I really want you all to be in the full picture of where this channel is headed. And to be honest, because I've been doing the online courses for the last few years, the last 2 or 3 years that it's really taken to do those, I've had to dedicate so much time and effort to building those and to recording the videos and doing all that. But now that they're done, I can really focus my attention back on this channel and really make sure, not that it was never not a focus, but really start to invest some new ideas and some creative thought into what we can do together. The other thought I had was maybe doing some group webinars, which if I do charge for them, it will be minimal. But I'm talking, you know, we would do, you know, have 50 to 100 people join together, and I could do an actual, you know, webinar session. I actually did a webinar for a big group about 2 weeks ago. It was really well received. The feedback was really positive. I thought, you know what, my community, my Voice Essentials community, that I think they would really benefit from doing something like this. So we could look at things like voice care and how do we, you know, warm up and what have you. So I'm thinking of that, and in just in regards to warm-ups, I hope you've enjoyed engaging in the new warm-up videos that I released over January, including the 10-minute, the 5-minute, the 10 and 5-minute warm-ups, and, excuse me, the 5-minute cool down. If you haven't seen them, there's a male voice and female voice version for both. So I was actually releasing 6 videos over January. If you haven't seen them, I want you to go and check them out. They really will help you, you know, prepare vocally for whatever performance or audition or vocal practice you've got coming up. And here's a little secret: the 10-minute ones actually only around about 9 minutes 30. So there you go. Okay, I've also got not only are we going to be doing you know, having special guests come onto the show, which just a highlight of the year for me. I'm hoping to do far more collaboration with other YouTube creators. So I've already been talking with Freya Casey. Those of you who know Freya, and she's reached out actually to me over January, December, January, saying, hey, let's do another collaboration, which I've done with her before. So we're hoping to bring some collaboration videos to you. And I've got a few other people that I want to approach here on YouTube who I really respect and like what they're doing. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to do some work together, which would be good. And so that will be fantastic. And then finally, before we get into some Q&A, thanks for listening for while I wax on lyrical about everything that is going to be happening this year. Finally, what I'm hoping to do, as I've said a few times already today, the last 2 or 3 years, in fact, I have to be honest and say, I reckon it's been the last 6 to 7 years, I haven't had a lot of time for my own voice. And, you know, when I got into this singing thing, I was a performer. My first year out of high school, I toured with a band for 10 months. You know, I still have a chuckle because it's still at least once a week I get accused on YouTube of, you know, you don't sing, blah, blah. So I've actually put a permanent link in the description section of all my videos now saying, I do sing, here's a link to some videos. But anyway, I just think it's a bit funny because I've actually had 25 years of professional performance experience. And, but in the last 5 or 6 years, as I've really dedicated myself to the development of not only the Voice Essentials community, but also here on YouTube, but also, you know, all of the learning materials and all of that stuff. I don't know whether it's an overstatement to say I've neglected my own singing, because in that period of time I have done some singing, and some of you have seen me share some videos, for example, into the Facebook community group, the Voice Essentials Facebook group. But this year, I really personally, this is a goal kind of set for myself this year, I really want to set the ambition, the intention to spend more time singing myself, and I'm thinking that, and because I feel like my own voice is a little bit rusty. It's all still there, and but I know that it's not where it could be, and so what I want to do this year is find some time, and I don't think I'm going to have to let the first term between now and Easter, just get the year started, let it settle, and I'm not going to place any pressure on myself. But thereafter, I want to really start thinking about, okay, well, how do I, you know, what are some performance opportunities that might come my way? In fact, a friend of mine, really a student from decades gone past, who is now a professional singer, actually talked to me last week, and out of the blue just said, hey Dan, I want to do a duet at this particular event. I was hoping that maybe you would consider doing it. And I went, wow, you know, there's maybe the opportunity that, or the opportunity, or the kick up the pants that I need, and so, you know, just looking for opportunities like that. I'm thinking that what I might also do as I start to do that is actually do some videos, warts and all, showing you me working through that process, dusting the voice off, getting back into some technical work. I'm also thinking, you can hear that these thoughts are still cogitating. I'm still working this through, so I'm not making any promises, but I'm thinking that I will use the Voice Essentials program, the Voice Essentials learning pathway, to do that, so that you can see Dr. Dan work with his own technical exercises that have been developed over many years, and start to maybe observe the impact that they have on my voice. And I'm hoping that brings a great sense of encouragement to not only you, but also to me, and that, you know, over this coming year, that I might find myself, you know, more regularly singing and taking opportunities as they come. You know, last year taught all of us a lot of things. Not all of those things were received received with open arms. You know, some of these lessons are sometimes learnt very much under duress. But I think 2020 with COVID being what it is, what it still is for many of us, is you start to really reflect on what is it that matters in my world. And, it will come as no surprise to many of you that singing has always been a major part of my world. And so I want to see it re-establish into my everyday existence, not just simply as a singing teacher, which I have always been doing, but as a singer myself, as someone who is actively singing. Again, don't hear me incorrectly. I have been doing some singing through that time, but not in a really engaged, intentional way in the development of my own voice, because you'll have heard me say many times, learning to sing is a lifelong journey. You never arrive. I have not arrived, and I never will. There are certainly milestones that we reach, that we can achieve, and the Voice Essentials online singing courses are great milestones that you can do. If you do, the first course, you can achieve that and really work on that, and then you can plant a flag and go, I completed that, that's good, and then you can go on and do two. And so you can create milestones as you walk through your journey of learn to sing, but you never really arrive. And this is the wonderful thing about learning to sing, is that it's the gift that can keep on giving. That's not to say that it's easy. In fact, sometimes it can be very hard. Our voice is so directly connected to our psyche as human beings, but nonetheless, I think we can find great reward in that process. So I'm hoping that maybe this year is the year where you get to observe me walking that journey. So that's good. Evo, thanks for the super chat, my friend, and good to have you join. And I know you'll be an active member over the coming weeks and months, as you have been last year. I think I want to get to some Q&A, and as we often do, and we'll spend the next 2 or 3 minutes. We'll probably spend a little bit. We'll probably spend a little bit longer than 2 or 3 minutes, but we will do that right after this. Okay, I'm just checking that our tone is all good there. I'm kind of, I can feel the relief, sort of my world just sort of calming down as I've realized the tech side of things has gone all right today. So I'm hoping that remains the case. Okay, let's jump into Mackenzie. Kate, good to see you join us again, Mackenzie. I hope you had a great festive period. Mackenzie's just asked whether, at the very beginning of the show, asked whether I've ever had anything go wrong during a performance, as in stage mishaps. Mackenzie, we don't have long enough in the show today for me to tell you all of them. There's some ones that really jumped to mind. There was one where I was in a music theatre production, and suddenly we're doing a full chorus number, and suddenly there was this massive kerfuffle happening sort of to my right and behind me. So we're doing this show, I turn around, and out of the side of my eye, I see one of the cast members wrestling like a full-sized possum, a real possum. This possum had fallen out of the rafters and dropped onto this poor performer, and scratched her up a bit, because possums can be a bit vicious. Possums in Australia are a bit like the kind of, squirrels that you might have in the US, I guess. They're everywhere. Anyway, this one had fallen. How it fell out of the rafters at this theatre, I do not, how it was even in. Anyway, so yeah, that was quite, it was funny after it happened because she got scratched up and we had to take her to hospital, and in all things, in the end, she was fine. I've been a part of shows where we've had fires on stage because of pyrotechnics, and we've had to shut the show down for a second while we put the fires out, and then the show must go on, and so we keep going. I've gone through stages when you're moving and dancing or whatever, and suddenly, boom, I was halfway up to my stomach in stage. I literally just went through the floor. So yeah, there's that. If you've been in this performance game, Mackenzie, for any length of time, funny things will happen. And I often say it here on the show, process is much more important than product. The things I remember about shows are these sorts of things, not me hitting a top note successfully or whatever. It's actually the process, the people, yeah. So there's a few for you, Mackenzie. Matt got a question in. Matt, you didn't get the first question in, but it's good to have you join us again this year. How has my year been so far? A nice question, Matt. My year has been good. This is my third week back teaching, so far so good. Really looking forward to 2021, and as I highlighted, there's some really exciting things I think that we can plan together as we journey into the new year. So thank you, Matt. M. Rax, can you please do voice analysis of the legendary Indian singer Kishore Kumar? He is followed by millions. Yeah, when I get around to doing the vocal analysis videos, and I don't know what we're going to call them, but when I look into it, I'll be letting you know that they're coming up, and yeah, we'll get to it. But again, I don't do vocal reaction videos. It's not going to be, Dr. Dan standing, sitting in front of the video going, ooh, isn't he wonderful, or that was terrible, or it's not going to be like that. We're going to really dig into the nitty-gritty of, the way they shaped that vowel and the effectiveness of it, and then looking at that vowel and going, is there another way to create that vowel? Or, you get the point, right? We certainly don't want to be dissing on people. Matthias, hey Doc, why is it that your voice feels so heavy some days and incredibly inflexible in others, especially in the frustrating passaggio of G4 to A4, in spite of having limbered up your vocal cords? Matthias, that can be for so many different reasons, and what I can say to you is what we do, one of the reasons we establish vocal technique, that we want to develop our voice technically, is because technique helps to mitigate that variance, that variable, that sense of one day your voice feels great, the next day your voice doesn't feel great, and that can be because of what you ate. It can be because of how much sleep you had. Ladies, it can be because of your menstrual cycle. Some days it can be because of the weather. Like, there are so many things that impact our biological instrument. But technique, when we establish a really solid foundation of technique, that variability is not negated, it's not removed, but it's mitigated. We're able to be far less impacted by that. So I'd encourage you, Matthias, to be really zeroing in on your technical development, but understanding that variability in the voice is not an uncommon thing. It's pretty much a part of the human condition. Julian, hello, I have a question. How can I sing softly on the passage or the bridge? Well, that comes firstly to developing your vocal registers, being able to move freely between the registers. I'm a great advocate for working the registers in a sense in isolation, and I do this throughout my Voice Essentials process, the online courses and with my private students. Then we look to combine and connect them so that you're able to sing through them. But it all comes down to a sense of your capacity to manage the musculature and manage that through there. Carla, thank you very much for the super chats. That's very kind. Of course, to let you all know, the super chats, if you put a question with your super chat, I'll make sure that we prioritize an answering of that question for you. And then we get into the general questions after that. But like Carla, if you want to support the channel, and can I tell you, every cent from the super chat goes back into the channel. These YouTube channels are not a cheap thing to run when you want to do it to the level that we here at Voice Essentials want to do it. So Carla, very big thank you to you. Ishix Films, hello there. I have a question: how to stop tightening your throat when singing high notes? Yeah, tightening the throat is quite a normal, or we see that quite a bit. It's quite common is what the word I was looking for. And so learning to back off air pressure. So we have a thing called phonatory threshold pressure. And what tends to happen in a lot of singers is singers tend to start to force and start to push air through the larynx, and so their subglottal pressure, their phonatory threshold pressure increases while they start to increase their phonatory threshold flow, PTF. But in fact, what ends up happening is PTF starts to die off as the PTP gets higher, the pressure gets higher. We actually need the opposite. We need the PTF, the flow, to remain consistent whilst we keep the PTP, the pressure, in check. So that's something that you might want to look into. Lava, how long would you say it takes to learn how to sing? Well, Lava, as you will have been, if you've joined me from the beginning of the show, a lifetime is the actual answer. When people say to me, look, I'm a standing start, I haven't done any singing before, how long will it take me to sort of get going? I honestly think, and you may not like to hear this answer, but it's a truthful one, I think you're looking at an 18-month to 2-year period to establish really foundational technique to the point where you can be relatively confident when you open your mouth that you're going to get what what you expect to get. So many singers, spend their careers or their avocational pursuit of singing just opening their mouths and hoping for the best. That's not ideal. We want to be able to use our voice in a far more measured way than that, a far more intentional, far more confident way, and so it does take time. Yes, there are, shortcuts. But I think many of us here on this channel understand that shortcuts, when you circumnavigate the journey, you really miss everything that the journey has to teach you. And shortcuts rarely stick. What we're about here at Voice Essentials is developing technique that really gets into ingrained muscle memory. We're wanting to rewire your brain plasticity. We're wanting to see new neural pathways form so that your voice develops healthier, sustainable habits that you can rely on even when your voice is not feeling great. So that takes time, and so I encourage you, start today. Don't put it off. I know there are probably hundreds, if not thousands, of singing teachers online who will tell you, 3-4 lessons and you'll be right. Maybe they know something I don't. I don't think so, you know. And even when we see some of the testimonial videos and stuff that these people put up, that it's I want to see lasting results, long-term results. There are so many little tricks that even I know and I can perform with a student. And we kind of see this when I employ some of these tricks when, and I always tell you that I'm doing them, when we do the live song reviews. And I think Mackenzie Kate's keen to do a song review, a video with me here as one of the live shows in the coming weeks and months. You know, they're little tricks because I know, you know, have a bit of knowledge around how the voice works. We can trick the voice to do certain things. But do you know what? That doesn't mean that the voice will remember how to do it again. That's the kicker, you know. And when you know, a singer, so if I do a little trick on the voice mechanically, get it to do something, you know, when I then place that individual, when that individual then gets placed under pressure, whether it be for performance or what have you, more often than not, the voice is going to revert to what it knows, what its muscle memory is. And it's that muscle memory that I want to get into. And when we do, that's the long road. It's the hard road, but it's the long-lasting road, and that's the kicker. I am going to do one more question, and then we're going to call it a day. Whoa, okay. A lot of questions here, everyone. A lot of questions. Wowzers. I can't, I'm sorry, we can't answer them all. That is the way it always is here on the show. You know, you've got to join in early, firstly. You've got to ask your questions early in the live chat. And then finally, if you really, really, really must have your question answered, throw in a super chat. Do not do a super chat for a question now, because this is going to be my last question for today. DB R has asked, what course should I start on for first-time singer? So DB, I would recommend you start on Voice Essentials 1 online singing course. And in fact, let me put the scrolling piece of information coming along the screen now. That is the website that you want to go to actually enroll in Voice Essentials 1. You can enroll in all three courses and for a bundle package, but the first course is what I would highly recommend you join. And in fact, you can, if you wanted to, you can ask plenty of people here in the live chat. I know a lot of them are enrolled in the show, so if you needed some feedback about the quality of the product, you can ask them, so instead of asking me, because of course I'm going to. It's, yeah, there's a confirmation bias going on there, isn't there? Okay, whoa, hang on a second, what are we doing? We'll come back here. There you go, everyone. First year of 2021. Perhaps my most exciting bit is that it worked. Oh dear. After last year, what a ride, those last 2 or 3 shows. That was not fun. Quite stressful, but here we are. We've kicked the brand new year off without a hiccup. So good. And so good to see so many new names that are not familiar to me, but I really hope in the live chat that, you know, that your name will become familiar to me so that we can get to know each other. Again, we do these shows every Monday, 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Next week, the show will be dedicated to Q&A. And so I hope you will join me then. The live show is a highlight. It's not the very first thing I do in my week, but it does kick my week off. I love spending it with you. I love, you know, having our guests and answering your questions, and so I really hope that you'll be able to, you know, join me every Monday. Hit the thumbs up button if you've enjoyed the Hangout. Always good to get your encouragement. Thanks again for those who left the super chat. Looking forward to seeing you next week. Don't forget the pre-record video. this Wednesday, Australian Eastern Standard Time. Check it out. I look forward to seeing you again soon. I'm Dr.